take that from you? It's just on my way. Thank you. Today I use notes. I usually don't. I guess we'll talk about spiritualism. And we will talk about spiritualism if I have the right notes. Yeah, oh boy, I didn't bring my notes. Yes, there they are. There's always a question about what we believe and what we don't believe. And I can't speak for everyone who's been a spiritualist for a short time or a long time, here or across the country. I can only talk from my experience of being here for 28 years. And so we will deal with it first. Many of us, I know me, have been asked many times, do you believe in God? Well, it really depends on who's asking the question. See, spiritualism is a natural religion. It's not man-made. We don't have any dogma or creed. We don't have any pope or bishop telling us what to do or not to do. The phenomenon of spiritualism has been around since mankind's been around. So, do I believe in God? I might say, yes. We call it infinite intelligence, but God works very well. Someone asked me once, what do you mean by infinite intelligence? Just look at the words. Infinite. There can be nothing outside of infinity. You can't add to it. You can't change it. And there's an intelligence to it. I think that's a very good way to express the term God for spiritualists. I might also say, no, I don't believe in God. I probably don't believe in the God you believe in. Depends who's asking me, right? Years ago, at our annual meeting, which is the only way we could change our principles, which you just read, there was a movement to add, we believe in infinite intelligence / God. Everybody, oh, that's wonderful. I got up and said, no. You can't add to infinite intelligence, and by putting God in, you might very well be buying into somebody else's definition of God, which we don't want. We believe in infinite intelligence. That is our God. We could also look at Joseph Campbell said, the great mythologist. Is it your highest God? Is your highest obstacle? Once you settle on God, you know there's more and more and more. You can't settle on just one way of looking at the whole thing. Someone else will talk about God. Oh no, I believe in something bigger. And for those who say they stop believing in God, it isn't that they then believe in something, it's now that they believe in everything. So we understand that nothing happens except by way of God. And we're free to look at it in any way we want. No one's going to condemn you for not believing or believing whatever it is. So with that settled, we'll move on. What do spiritualists believe? Well, it wasn't all that long ago, about a week or so ago, that we had some, I would say, deranged person come into camp one night. Jeanette heard it outside the house. What's all that screaming and yelling outside? The dog's barking and everything. So I got around to going outside. I saw Louis and Marie screaming at somebody. It's not the first time someone's come in and said, you psychics, you devil worshippers, I'm going to burn the place down. I'm going to blow it up. Isn't it nice? We just want to be here and do our work and help people. And they want to destroy it. So let's look at the word Satan. You know, many years ago, I don't know where I heard it, a long time ago, some fantastic number, hundreds, maybe thousands of groups in this country that are labeled Satan worshipers. And they, well, that's an awful big number. Thousands of us. Until I realized that the people putting that information out think that anybody who doesn't believe as they do are by definition Satan worshipers. So I guess that's what we are. That would be the Boy Scouts. They're Satan worshipers. They don't believe the way they do. Probably you. And this is very interesting since we don't believe in Satan. So how we can worship something that we don't believe in that doesn't exist, where these people have a problem. Well, let's look at it a little deeper. I like to go deep into it. The word Satan comes from the word Satan. And Satan comes from the Jewish Kabbalah, the mystical side of Judaism. And the Satan simply means the adversary. There's no outside Satan. Remember, it could be nothing outside of infinite intelligence, nothing outside of infinity. You can't add to it. The Satan is real when you consider what I'm going to say next. Some of you might be old enough to remember cartoons when you were a kid. In the cartoon, the little guy's thinking about doing something, and sitting on their shoulders, the little devil. He had the cape and the horns and the pitchfork. Oh, little Donnie, go ahead. As long as you don't get caught, who cares? Doesn't matter. Do what you want to do. And over here, Lily's, oh, well, Donnie, you know better. You know the right thing to do. All right? This is your guidance. This is your spirit guides helping you, telling you what the right thing to do, in case you don't already know or don't care. And this little guy is the Satan, the adversary that is inside of you, and is that part of your mind that'll talk you into bad things and talk you out of good things every time. It's not out there. It's right here. Right here. So you got the devil and an angel on your shoulder. You have the choice of doing what you want to do with it. So we don't believe in outside objective Satan. Can't possibly exist outside of infinite intelligence, God. So we talk about the little devil. He's a distant cousin of Satan, I guess. Yeah, we're devil worshippers. I'm going to give you a definition of devil that you're going to have to meditate on. You have to contemplate it at home, because when you first hear it, you're going to go, what? What's he talking about? Except this is the ancient teaching about the devil. The devil is God. It's misunderstood by the wicked. The devil is God. But if you misunderstand it, you're going to see if you misunderstand God, it could appear to you as a devil to you. And again, he's not real anyway. The wicked will manipulate your beliefs. What's good for you. That's what the devil does. And if you remember, part of the devil has spelled backwards life, L-I-V-E, like life. It's the opposite of life. In fact, evil is exactly spelled backwards. L-I-V-E. Live. Live according to God. So there is no outside objective. I'm asked about evil quite often. Again, no outside objective evil. Is there evil? Yes, it's subjective. What we think is good, somebody on the other side of the world might think is evil. What we think of evil, someone else on the other side of the world or somewhere might think is good. It's on the sliding scale. It's subjective. Objective, no. Now, I think it's clear that if we see evil, we recognize it. not everybody's going to have a consensus on it. So if you're dealing with an infinite intelligence God, you'll be able to see evil and deal with it. I think the Bible says, resist not evil. Once you resist something, it persists and it grows. You're giving it your energy. Since it's not real anyway, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Evil is in the eye of the beholder, so you better have a good eye right about there. Third eye right there. Everybody see that? What about hell? What do we believe about hell? What do spiritualists know, understand about hell? Again, no outside object of hell. It's a fairy tale, as we call it. But you know as well as I do that there are people that create their own hell, their own living hell, right here, right now. So in that sense, yeah, for them it's real. You create it, it's yours. And then it spreads like a contagion. And that's not a good thing. You create your own happiness or unhappiness. I believe that's our seventh principle. You create your own happiness or unhappiness as you obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. That's what we're talking about. One thing about spiritualism, we've adopted something called natural law. I'm afraid a lot of people don't understand natural law. It's a full-time study. Could take at least one lifetime. That's a worthwhile endeavor to know how the universe really works. Not by science. The way it really works. The ultimate truth about it. If you persist in creating your hell and you die with it, yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult on the other side, but the eighth principle says you can surpass it even after you change till death. Hell is something they like to scare you with. I'm not into being scared. Infinite intelligence cannot be scared. So I wouldn't buy into hell. Just look within yourself and see if you have created it for yourself. Now this one I like heaven. That's not a whole lot better than hell. Many times people here have heard me say, if you're waiting to die to go to heaven, you're wasting your time. One of the first talks I gave in Kobe Memorial Temple a long time ago, and had a chance to repeat it at the International Metaphysical Convention in Las Vegas in 1998, 99, something like that. Changed it a little bit. Heaven on earth. It's not out there. It's right here. Where is it not? Unless you choose not to accept it, choose not to see it. Master Jesus was asked about that. Master, where is this place? You keep talking about this heaven, this Father's kingdom. Will you take us there? We'll pack our bags. We'll load up the camels, head east. We'll get a one-way ticket. We'll follow you there. He said, no, it's not out there. It's in here. It's in here. It's within. And I actually have given talks outside of camp that proves that. But that's not for today. He also said you are in the midst of it. Look around you. Where is it not, unless you choose not to see it? He says the kingdom of heaven is at hand. You can only experience that in the moment. The talk at Lyceum that Joy gave dealt with living in the moment, because heaven isn't in the past, it's not in the future, it's all of those right in the moment. It's the only time you can experience it. The choice is yours. Or you can have hell, it's up to you. The other concept of heaven is one of the oldest teachings that humans have. As above, so below. On earth as it is in heaven. It's your choice. And spiritualism gives you that choice. And one of the ways we do that is we have spirit masters, spirit teachers that will connect with us to help us with that. Because the basic premise of life is that it doesn't stop when the body drops off. The spirit lives on after the change called death. The soul is immortal. It was never born, it can never die. But the body does drop off. But the soul and the spirit continue on. Science says you can't destroy that energy, it just changes. And evolution of knowledge continues even after the change called death. Now this afternoon I'm going to give a talk, it's an actual workshop on animal spirit guides. And I don't believe that's been understood properly because it fits into what I'm talking about today. Spirit will find any way possible to break through this thick skull of ours. And they have to do it by presenting the animal world to us, as so many of us can relate to. There's a lot of people here, I think. Then that's what's going to happen. It's not limited to Granny coming through every time. People get a little tired of that. So spirit communication, in the essence of spiritualism, the religion of it is covered in our principles 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, and 8. We had a discussion the other day about when we read these principles, sometimes we kind of gloss over them and just kind of read them from a, superficial level. You ought to take them home and really read them. Contemplate each one individually. When you read them during the service, read them from the heart and the mind, not just from the voice. Principles 1, 2, and 3. Lay it out. 6 is the golden rule. 7 is about making your own unhappiness or unhappiness. And 8 says there ain't no how. You can continue beyond death, and all will be taken care of. Now, as far as the thing that separates us from other religions, even over and above no dogma or creed, no pope telling us what to do or not to do, it's principles 4, 5, and 9. Yes, we live on, and we can communicate with the beyond. In fact, they communicate with us more than we communicate with them, unfortunately. They have work to do. They do this for their own karma. They don't do it for fun and games. They have a job to do, and that's to help us. Then our job is to help each other. That's what they want. That's what Joy referred to this morning as synergy. Or we call it 1 and 1 is 3. Figure that one out. Principle number 9 covers it too. I've had to wrestle with this with people here. Precepts of prophecy and healing as contained in the Bible. Went to a church recently, they left the Bible out of that. Precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes. Well, why would you leave the Bible? And it was the reference. Our forefathers and foremothers put that in there because that's where you're going to find, the only place you're going to find healing, and prophecy. Chapter 12 of Corinthians. It's the only place you can find it. That's what they're talking about. Let's not cut off our nose to spite our face. That's where it is. Now, someday I'll give a little more talk about the word prophecy, because that's not understood. I'm running out of time here. Get the hook to hold me up for a minute. But all of this that I've talked about comes down to one thing. Perhaps my favorite talk that I give. If I could walk around and look at each one of you in the eye, be very personal, individual with each one of you, I would make it very clear to you an ultimate truth. You, yeah, you, even you, and you. You are a powerful spiritual being. You are a powerful spirit. What else could you be? This spark isn't a whole lot different than the full flame. The drop of water in the ocean has all the attributes of the ocean. And that's you. And that's why we can talk about these things in a very positive way. No fear, no dogma, no creed. Bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest. Ultimate truth. You are a powerful spiritual being. I thank you for your attention. Go in peace.